Okay, and we're live. Welcome to the Useful Idiots, Useful Idiots live stream. The first one we're doing since getting free, how to get free, is about the Useful Idiots.
This is the first Useful Idiots Unchained drinking game.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so Matt is, this looks hideous. It's a shake glass that I have water in, so it looks really filthy. But just know it's not. It's just that I had some shake in it.
And there's no alcohol in there?
No, I can't day drink. I mean, well, it shoots my day. My day is shot.
All right.
If I
Well,
do
I've
that.
got I got a pretty thick with vodka White Russian here.
Oh, great.
So,
Are you wearing your headphones, by the way?
yes, I am.
Huh, okay.
Why?
It's a little loud. Did you set your cam mic to, I mean, we are professionals, so you probably know. Did you set your cam and your mic to the, not cam, sorry. Did you set your audio output to your headphones? Maybe they're just loud and I can hear it a little bit. Oh no, you know what it is? I
What?
have our YouTube open. Ignore that. Okay.
Okay.
Wait.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I hear myself also. Do you have our YouTube channel open in addition to the?
I do not.
I hear. Okay, maybe can you lower your headphones a little bit?
My headphones or my microphone?
Your headphone volume, because I hear myself. No, I know he sounds fine. Can you hear my echo or no?
I don't hear your echo, no.
Okay, do you guys hear it? I know we're live, guys. This is how we do it, though. All right, as long as you guys don't hear an echo, that's fine. Oh, you know what we should do? We should record our own audio in QuickTime. Well, it's supposed to be on this feed. Is it not on this feed? Hold on.
Can everybody hear us?
Yeah, they can, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like people are saying I sound fine.
Yeah, no, you do. It's just whether or not I can hear myself. But hold on. White House press conference. He's
That's
poised
a nice tie,
to
that
hold
man.
it. Watch live at. Wait. Oh my god. If anyone has the correct link, because I thought I had it. It says 1:15 C-SPAN.
Yeah, well, that's just a rough time.
Right.
Should we go over the rules quick?
Yeah, go over the rules. Yeah.
All right. So, for those of you, if you want to go on usefulidiots.substack.com, the rules are there. But we have 10 rules. Any reference, you drink to any reference of the previous administration. If a reporter asks a question about a dog or otherwise any version of like, what's your secret to being so awesome? Like any of those questions, you got to drink to that. God bless the troops, or any sentence with America in it twice. Beginning any sentence with "look, here's the deal," or "I'm the guy who." He forgets something important, like the name of the Defense Department or what Kamala Harris's job is. Equity. Any mention of that word? They're trying to emphasize that word. So.
Right, equity. Yeah, that's a good one.
This is Walter Bragman's idea. SIPs.
Walker.
Sorry, didn't I say?
I thought you said Walter. My bad if you did, no. Yeah.
Walker Bragman, a SIP for folks. I mean this, and nothing we can't accomplish. If you have to drink for that, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, really bad.
SIP. This is the affect mismatch rule. If he like appears angry when he's saying something happy, or vice versa, like drink to that. That happens a lot. If he gets personal with a reporter who asks him a non-softball question, double shot if he points. And if he blames Earth's problems on Republican obstructionists more than the minimum 5 times allotted under the terms of the Geneva Convention, then you got to drink. So in other words, if he does that 6 times, you got to drink.
Okay, got it. I am right now. Let me just. I'm going to post these drinking rules in the description of this video so people have it. The nice thing about when you're doing when Biden's doing a press conference is that he will not start on time. I mean, this was originally supposed to be at noon, and the coverage was like, if the schedule holds, I think like everyone's kind of prepared for him not to necessarily make it.
Right.
It'll be impressive if he does. Let's see. I'm just copying and pasting this. Did you see? I posted. A comment. Someone had a super chat in there. It's on the screen. Hold on one second. It is also drink anytime Biden says that he isn't kidding, isn't joking, or is serious. Also, we need anti-partisan populist media. You guys are great. All right, cool.
All right, excellent.
All
We
right,
like
excellent.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Yeah, that isn't kidding is good. He does do that.
That is really good. Yeah. All right, there. I'm posting the thingies. Yeah. Here we go. Let me just make sure it's on my thing imaging. Yes, it is. And guys, make sure you subscribe to Useful Idiots to our YouTube channel, which is in the description here. I also put in the chat, and also subscribe to the Substack. We are unchained. We have decoupled, consciously decoupled, uncoupled. We've decolonized from Rolling Stone. No hard feelings, by the way. I'm serious. We don't have hard feelings. But you know, we are free. Don't jump. We need you. Yeah, that was a good. We got to clip that. That was one of my favorite moments from Biden lately. So the president is officially 7 minutes late right now. Yeah, Biden's just late, like the stimmy checks. Trish Regan, is she Pod Kentucky? Is she conservative? I'm curious if she's conservative. Remember her? We would talk about her. I could not deliver that ad. Do you remember when? Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Right.
Like, what was the thing? The Grit, the guy's podcast who made it. I don't remember. Oh, is that him? Oh my God, you guys, it started. Oh, starting shortly. Didn't he look asleep just there?
Who the
Biden? They showed a shot of Biden quickly.
Biden's looked asleep since like 2011.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think he should grow. I think he should grow
a beard.
Yeah.
What about a Chomsky beard?
A Chomsky beard is good too. Like just
we gotta have him back on.
A crazy beard with like food stuck in it.
Oh yeah, that would be. Yeah, Kamala would love that. I'm surprised she isn't making all these suggestions for how he can look very unprepared.
Right.
By the way, I'm going to record my own audio if you want to do that on QuickTime.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me also. I definitely hear myself, which is why I want to record it. Okay. Where is this guy? I mean, I'm late on my stream, but that's just a stream. It's not a press conference.
I guess if he doesn't show up at all, we have to just drink, right?
I guess so.
New audio recording. Oh, here we go. Wait, is that it? Oh no,
is that it? A preview. Shortly. Oh my God.
Wait, that's Wednesday? Yeah, he needs a beard.
What else could he do?
I mean, just recreationally, they're not going to let him near any actual work, right? So I think growing a beard is a good thing for a man to do in that situation.
I mean, it's gonna make him look a little schlocky, right?
Well, yeah, but that's one of the ways you can rebel. You can rebel a little bit when you get to be an older man. You're like,
I guess so.
You can smell worse.
Yeah. Oh, guys, listen to this. Ready? We're gonna have we should have a hate mail section. By the way, everyone, please leave us your video questions. Videotape yourselves.
I got one.
Oh, you got one? Okay, because we're gonna be doing this. I think it's gonna probably be a Substack only feature. And by the way, everyone should know we've released our episodes are for the public. We don't paywall them, but we do little extra things like either extended interviews or questions from people. But we need those questions. I also like the idea of hate mail. So someone wrote, the fact that there was never a drinking game for any of Trump's press conferences, but now is doing one for Biden is a window into why Matt's original readership abandoned him. 85% MAGA now, and those useful idiot subscriptions are so low. Hope your legacy was worth that Substack bag. All right, a lot to unpack there. One is Matt was making fun of. I'm gonna stop sharing until it's on, okay? But Matt, you were making fun of Trump before you wrote a book about him, I believe. That was not called "Make America Great Again." It was called "Insane Clown President."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And I did like 4 cover stories about Trump being nuts.
Yeah.
While he was president.
And one on Substack, your famed right wing, whatever. Also, have you not to be whatevs, but like. Have you looked? That's the biggest cell phone ever. I wonder if this person's actually a fan of yours and pretending not to be, because you do have quite. They usually attack you for being a grifter because you do have so many subscribers on Substack. So just pick a narrative, guys. And we have.
Oh, are they saying I don't have subscribers, or that we don't have subscribers?
Maybe, but we do have subscribers.
We do actually. Yeah, we were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Not that we don't want to have more subscribers, but we
no, we need
we're
more.
very pleased by the support.
We need to make more now than we did at Rolling Stone to show the world that independent media works.
Right.
And you can make that happen.
And just to be petty about it.
Well, yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we got to show the world, and it is a very important thing for independent media for us. As goes Useful Idiots, so goes all independent media.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Then there's the spite factor too. Petty.
In seriousness, we do need to make some money in order to pay for everything.
No, we do.
So,
Right. We do, because Rolling Stone, we had really great. We have a great team now, but obviously Rolling Stone paid for the team at Rolling Stone because that was. And by the way, people keep asking who that. Is it happening?
I think he's on.
All right, let's do it. Okay, let's do it, guys. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
There we go.
Let me make sure. Sorry, let me put up the volume. Here, we shouldn't be able to now.
Good afternoon. Before I take questions, I want to give you a progress report to the nation on.
Can you hear it?
On where we stand 65 days into office here.
/ my first
on vaccinations and a few other top priorities for the American people. First, on vaccinations. On December 8th, I indicated that I hope to get 100 million shots in people's arms in my first 100 days. We met that goal last week by day 58, 42 days ahead of schedule. Now today I'm setting a second goal, and that is we will, by my 100th day in office, have administered 200 million shots in people's arms. That's right, 200 million shots in 100 days. I know it's ambitious, twice our original goal, but no other country in the world has even come close. Not even close.
Not in the, like on the cheek. Do they ever do that?
I believe we can do it.
You probably could.
Today,
but weren't there some
we made a historic investment in reaching
really
the hardest hit and the most vulnerable communities, the highest risk communities, as a consequence of the virus, by investing an additional $10 billion in being able to reach them.
You know what he forgot to do was
I also set a goal before I took office of getting a majority of schools in K through 8 fully open in the first 100 days. Now, thanks to the enormous amount of work done by our administration, educators, parents, local, state education officials, and leaders, recent Department of Education survey shows that nearly half of the K through 8 schools are open now full-time, 5 days a week for in-person learning. Not yet a majority, but we're really close, and I believe in the 35 days left to go, we'll meet that goal as well. As of yesterday, more than 100 million payments of $1,400 have gone into people's bank accounts. That's real money in people's pockets.
Right, that's why,
instantly almost.
That's why I had to
emphasize. And millions more will be getting their money very soon. One final note. Since we passed the American Rescue Plan, we're starting to see new signs of hope in our economy.
Yeah, I think
Since it was passed, a majority of economic forecasters have significantly increased their projections
on the drinking.
on the economic growth that's going to take place this year. They're now projecting it will exceed 6%, a 6% growth in GDP. And just this morning, we learned that the number of people filing for weekly unemployment insurance
One final note, and I'm
fell
leaving.
by nearly 100,000 persons. It's the first time in a year the number has fallen below the pre-pandemic high.
The P-pandemic.
So there are still too many Americans out of work, too many families hurting, and they still have a lot of work to do.
Herd immunity.
But I can say to you, the American people, help is here and hope is on the way. Now I'll be happy to take your questions.
Wow, he made it through all of that without hitting
know.
a single rule.
Zeke, the Associated Press.
Zeke, do you know him? Zeke from the Associated Press?
I don't. I got a boy named Zeke.
Progress
But
on COVID-19. I'd like to ask you about some of the other issues facing your presidency. One of the defining challenges you face in the coming months is how to deliver on your promise to Americans on issues like immigration reform, gun control, voting rights, climate change. All of those right now are facing stiff, united opposition from Republicans on Capitol Hill. How far are you willing to go to achieve those promises that you made to the American people?
Well, I'm good. Look,
what kind of a question is
Look.
that?
when
Do you have look?
Yeah, drink.
when I
Yeah.
took office, I decided that it was a fairly basic, simple proposition, and that is I got elected to solve problems. And the most urgent problem facing the American people, I stated from the outset, was COVID-19 and the economic dislocation
Thanks, Amit.
for millions
Or
and
Amit.
millions of Americans. And so that's why I put all my focus in the beginning. There are a lot of problems, but all my focus on dealing with those particular problems. And the other problems
Matt is
we're
drinking a
talking
White
about,
Russian.
from immigration to guns and the other things you mentioned, are long-term problems. They've been around a long time. And what we're going to be able to do, God willing,
Someone's doing shrooms. He
is
said it
now
would be here.
begin one at a time to focus on those as well. And whether it's immigration or guns or a number of other problems that face the country. But the fundamental problem is getting people some peace of mind so they can go to bed at night and not stare at the ceiling wondering whether they lost their health insurance, whether they're going to lose a family member, whether they're going to be in a position where they're going to lose their home because they can't pay their mortgage, or the millions of people are going to get thrown out of their homes because of the inability to pay their rent. So
He's doing pretty well.
we're going to
He is
move on
actually,
these one at a time, try to do as many simultaneously as we can, but that's the reason why I focused as I have.
Thanks,
And here's the
Avron.
deal.
I don't know what currency that
I
is.
think my
but that's
Republican
good.
colleagues are going to have to determine whether or not we want to work together, or they'll decide that the way in which they want to
Yen,
proceed
cool.
is
That's the yen
to
to
Yuan.
dollar.
just decide to divide the country, continue
That's
the
one.
politics of division.
What's one?
But I'm not
Oh,
going to
yeah.
do that. I'm just going to move forward and take these things as they come.
To follow up, Mr. President, can your presidency be a success if you can't make progress on those four challenges: climate change, immigration
What
reform, gun
question is that?
control, voting rights?
Well, I
What was
plan
it?
on
I
making
missed it.
progress on
Sorry.
all of them, but that's going to be for the American people to decide. I think, I doubt whether, maybe you did, maybe others did. I thought, many of you thought there was no possibility of my getting the plan I got passed without
I
the
thought
Republican
many of you
votes.
thought there was no chance
Pretty
of
big
me
deal.
getting the plan. I got passed.
Got passed.
Got passed. Great
Growing the
big deal.
economy. People's lives are changing. So let's see what happens. All I know, I've been hired to solve problems, not create division.
I'm having a
Okay,
tough time
how about
finding something to-
Yamish?
Yamish
Thanks
Alcindor.
so much, Mr. President.
The one who asked Bernie why
You
he
said
was
over and
so
over again
sexist to not
that
drop out.
immigrants shouldn't come to this country right now. This
She's
is the time to
Haitian.
come.
This'll
That
be
message is
interesting.
not
Haitian
being
American.
received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral,
Oh, I
decent
like this.
man is the reason why a lot of immigrants are coming to this country and entrusting you with unaccompanied minors. How do you resolve that tension And how are you choosing which families can stay and which can go, given the fact that even though with Title 42, there are some families that are staying? And is there a timeline for when we won't be seeing these overcrowded facilities run by CPB when it comes to unaccompanied minors?
Well, look, I guess I should be flattered.
Look.
Drink.
People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening.
He just
That
made
I'm
a
a decent man, or however it's phrased. That, that's why they're coming, because no, Biden's a good guy.
what?
Truth of the matter is,
Well,
nothing has changed.
He's
That
being
was her-
sarcastic.
As many
Yeah, he
people
was-
came, 28% increase in children to the border
a weird thing,
in my
though, I think.
administration, 31% in the last year of,
Point.
in 2019 before
Oh,
the
yeah.
Does that
pandemic,
count? I don't
in the
think that
Trump
counts.
administration. It happens every single solitary year.
Oh, but she wasn't saying
There
that.
is
She,
a significant
Okay.
She was
increase
kind of.
in the number of people coming to the border
really? Okay. I
in
thought
the
she
winter
was
months.
saying you're decent.
of
Why aren't you being more
January,
welcoming?
February,
But you're
March.
saying that it's a challenge.
It happens
that
every
he's
year.
Not being Trumpian.
In addition
Okay.
to that,
No, she's
there
saying that,
is
you know, people thought you were this
nobody,
moral
and by the way,
decent-
does anybody suggest that there was a 31% increase under Trump because he was a nice guy and he was doing good things at the border? That's not the reason they're coming. The reason they're coming is that it's the time they can travel with the least likelihood of dying on the way because of the heat in the desert, number one. Number two, they're coming
What?
because of the circumstances in country.
Wouldn't they come in the winter
In
then?
country. The way to deal with this problem, and I started to deal with it back when I was United States Senator, Vice President, putting together a bipartisan plan of over $700 million to do with the root causes of why people are leaving.
Yeah, he
What did
mentions
Trump
it's
do?
true.
He eliminated that funding.
Yeah.
He didn't use it.
I
He
guess
didn't do it.
that counts as the
In
previous
addition to that,
administration,
what he
though.
did,
For-
he
for
dismantled
Reagan.
all the elements that exist to deal with what had been a problem and has been continued to be a
Thank you.
problem
Freezes at
for a
night in
long
the desert.
time.
Okay.
He, in fact, shut down the number of beds available. He did not fund HHS to get the children out of those border patrol facilities where they should not be and not supposed to be more than a few days, a little while. But he dismantled all of that. And so what we're doing now is attempting to rebuild the system that can accommodate what is happening today. And I'd like to think it's because I'm a nice guy, but it's not. It's because of what's happened every year. Let me say one other thing on this. If you take a look at the number of people who are coming, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of people coming to the border and crossing are being sent back. Thousands, tens of thousands.
Was he arguing
of
this is a
people
good or a
who
bad
are-
thing? I can't remember.
Who are over 18 years of age and single people, one at a time coming, have been sent back, sent home.
Wow.
We're sending back the vast majority of the families that are coming. We're trying to work out now with Mexico their willingness to take more of those families back. But that's what's happening.
If
They're
Trump
not getting
did
across
this
the
and
border.
said this, it
And
would
those who are
not be
coming
okay
across the
for
border
people
who are
like Biden.
unaccompanied children, we're moving rapidly to try to put in place what was dismantled, as I said.
Which was?
For example, of all the children who are coming across the border, over 70% are either 16 or 17 years old. We're not talking about people ripping babies from mother's arms or little 3-year-olds standing on the border. Less than, I think it's 1.5% fall in the category of the very young. So what we're doing is we're providing for the
Was that
space,
different with Trump?
again, to be able to get these kids out of the border patrol facilities, which no one should be in any longer
So
than
all
72
children who are
hours.
under 16
And
years
today,
old are now
I
16
went to,
years
for
old.
example, I used all the resources
Right.
available to me, went to the
Right,
Defense
right,
Department.
yes, true.
And the Secretary of Defense has just made available Fort Bliss,
That guy, they outfit over there.
5,000 beds. Be immediately available. 5,000 beds in the Texas border. So we're building back up the capacity
Well, we're building
that
back
should
better.
have been
Building back better,
maintained
yeah.
and built
The
upon.
capacity for
that Trump
minor children to
dismantled.
be in
It's going to
bed.
take time.
Yes,
And the other thing we're doing, I might
but
add.
they're 16.
Am I giving
so
you
it's
too long an
okay?
answer? Because if you don't want the detail. No, but I mean, I don't know how much detail you want about immigration. Maybe I'll stop there and finish.
He did the Biden thing
follow-up
where he
question
yields
is,
his time.
one, if you could talk a little bit about which families, why they're being allowed to stay, what the families that are being allowed to stay, why they're being allowed to stay. And in addition to that, when it comes
So
to the
much nicer
filibuster,
to
which
have
is what
them
Zeke was asking about,
than
there's
burn it.
immigration is a big issue, of course, when it related to the filibuster, but there's also Republicans who are passing bill after bill trying to restrict voting rights. Chuck Schumer is calling it an existential threat to democracy. Why not back a filibuster rule that at least gets around
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about
issues,
this.
including voting rights or immigration? Jim Clyburn, someone, of course, who you know very well, has backed the idea of a filibuster rule when it comes to civil rights and voting rights.
Well,
Only for that?
look, I'm going to deal with all of those problems. The question is the priorities as they come and land on my plate. Let's go to the first question you asked, the first of the second questions you asked. And that is, what about dealing with families? Why are not some not going back? Because Mexico is refusing to take them back. They're saying they won't take them back, not all of them. We're in negotiations with the president of Mexico. I think we're going to see that change. They should all be going back, all be going back. The only people we're not going to let sitting there on the other side of the Rio Grande by themselves with no help are children. And what we're doing there, and it's an important point to understand. I know you understand it. I don't mean to say it that way. Important point to focus on. The vast majority
They're
of
really
people under the
tiptoeing
age of
around each
18
other.
come to the
It's funny.
United States come with a telephone number on a wristband, or come with a telephone number in their pocket in the United States. A mother, a father, a close relative, a grandmama or grandpa. What was happening before is it's taking literally weeks and weeks and maybe even months before anybody pick up the phone and call to see if there really was someone there. Well, we've set up a system now where within 24 hours there's a phone call made as that child crosses the border. And then a verification system being put in place as of today to determine quickly whether or not that is a trafficker being called,
This is
or
not
that is actually a mom, a dad,
the
and or a close
disintegrating
relative.
Joe Biden I'm used
They're
to.
establishing
No,
that
it's
right
just
off
the,
the
like,
bat. If it
doing
in fact
basically what
is
Trump would
mom
do,
or dad,
but
dad
with nicer
says to take the
language.
extreme case, I got a birth certificate. Then guess what? We're getting that kid directly
Rick,
to
thanks,
that parent immediately. And so that's going to reduce significantly. There's two ways to reduce child populations in circumstances that are not acceptable, like being held at a Border Patrol station. One is to get them to the place where they have a relative and set a date as to when a hearing can be
The other is
held.
to eat them.
The second way to do it is put them in
Only if they're 16 or
a Health
older.
and Human Services facility that we're occupying now, both licensed beds around the country that exist, as well as, for example, federal resources like Fort Bliss, to get them safely in a place where they can be taken care of while their fate is determined. Filibuster, filibuster. You know, with regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago. And that is that it used to be required for the filibuster, and I had a card on this. I was going to give you the statistics, but you probably know them. That it used to be that from between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster existed. There were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster that whole time. Last year alone, there were 5 times that many. So it's being abused in a gigantic way. And for example, it used to be you had to stand there and talk and talk and talk and talk until you collapsed. And guess what? People got tired of talking and tired of collapsing. Filibusters broke down and we were able to break the filibuster, get a quorum and vote.
What?
So I strongly support moving in that direction, in addition to having an open mind about dealing with certain things that are just elemental to the functioning of our democracy, like the right to vote, like the basic right to vote. We've amended the filibuster in the past. But here's the deal.
Oh,
As you observed, I'm a fairly practical guy. I want to get things done.
Get her
I
done.
want to get them done consistent with what we promised the American people. And in order to do that, in a 50-50 Senate, we've got to get to the place where I get 50 votes so that the Vice President of the United States can break the tie, or I get 51 votes without her. And so
Without
I'm
her,
going to say something outrageous.
that outfit
I
there.
have never been particularly poor
You
at
meant-
calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So
What
the
did he
best
say?
way to get something done,
not been
if
poor
you-
at it.
if it holds
Oh.
near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Oh, there we go. All
I
right, that
yelled
was
my
a
time.
check please
We're
moment.
going
I
to
guess
get a lot
we didn't
done.
have that in
And
the
if we
rules,
have
but
to,
let's
if
check
there's
anyway.
complete
Yeah, we used to do that, right?
lockdown and chaos as a consequence of the filibuster, then we'll have
Check,
to go
please.
beyond what I'm talking about.
Check. Anyway, I'll
Okay,
I'll,
hang on. Sorry.
three-ring binder. They
Oh.
talked about that, remember?
Sing me, Ms. Kim.
Wait,
Thank you, Mr. President. To follow up on the filibuster, so do you believe it should take 60 votes to end a filibuster on legislation or 51?
If we could end it with 51, we would have no problem. You're going to have to, the existing rule, it's going to be hard to get a parliamentary ruling that allows 50 votes to end the filibuster, the existence of a filibuster. But it's not my expertise in what the parliamentary rules
I
and how to
find
get
this whole
there are.
debate about the
did you hear
filibuster.
this? Listen
Our
to this, though.
preoccupation with the filibuster is totally legitimate.
He's totally
But
reading
In the meantime,
now.
we got a lot we can do.
And he
while we're
punted
talking
to the
about what we're doing
parliamentarian
with the
again.
filibuster. Let me get here. Okay.
Why isn't the,
Cecilia Vega.
why isn't the, whatchamacallit,
I'd like to circle back to immigration, please.
text
Oh,
showing up again?
circling
You just
back.
listed the reasons that people are coming, talking about in-country problems, saying that it happens every year. You blamed the last administration. Sir, I just got back last night from a reporting trip to the border where I met 9-year-old Josel, who walked here from Honduras by himself, along with another little boy. He had that phone number
Astounding.
on him, and we were able to
Astounding
call
for
his
him.
family. His mother says that she sent her son to this country because she believes that you are not deporting unaccompanied minors like her son. That's why she sent him alone from Honduras. So, sir, you blame the last administration, but is your messaging in saying that these children are and will be allowed to stay in this country and work their way through this process, encouraging families like Josel's to come?
Well, look,
By the way, he's totally pre-selected them. He even looked down to see
Of
who he was
course,
going to
yeah.
call on. He didn't
Drink to the
pretend.
look, by the way.
the idea that I'm going to say, which I would never do, if an unaccompanied child ends up at the border, we're just going to let him starve to death and stay on the other side. No previous administration did that either, except Trump. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
That's a drink, I guess.
That's why I've asked the Vice President of the United States yesterday to be the lead person on dealing with focusing on the fundamental reasons why people leave Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador in the first place. It's because of earthquakes, floods.
Foreign
It's
policy.
because of lack of food. It's because of gang violence.
NAFTA.
It's because of a whole range of things that when I was vice president and had the same obligation to deal with unaccompanied children, I was able to get it slowed up significantly by working with the heads of state of those communities to do things like in one of the major cities, the reason people were leaving is they couldn't walk the street because their kids were getting beat up or shot or gang violence. Well, what I was able to do is not give money to the head of state because so many are corrupt, but I was able to say, okay, you need lighting in the streets to change things? I'll put the lighting in. We got a contractor. We got the type of lighting. We paid directly to the contractor, did not go through the government. And
What?
violent crime significantly was reduced in that city.
Where?
Fewer people sought to leave.
I don't know,
When
somewhere.
this hurricane occurred, the two hurricanes, instead of us going down and helping in a major way so that people would not have a reason to want to leave in the first place because they didn't have housing or water or sustenance, we did nothing.
What about Honduras?
We're going to do a lot.
Remember that?
in our administration.
That wasn't a good
We're going to
thing
be
to
spending that
to
700 plus
facilitate that
million
coup.
dollars a year
Destabilize
to
it
change
quite
the
a bit.
life and circumstances of why people leave in the first place. That mother did not sit around on the kitchen table and say, you know, I got a great idea.
She sat
What
at
I'm
the
going to make sure
table.
my son get taken care of is I'm going to put how old was he or she?
He's 9. I also met a 10-year-old.
A 9-year-old. I'm going to send him on a 1,000-mile journey across the desert and up to the United States because I know Joe Biden's a nice guy and he'll take care of him. What a desperate act to have to take. The circumstances must be horrible. So we can do something about that. That's what the vice president's going to be doing. What I did when President Obama
We're
asked
going to
me to
make sure
come
that
and
all those
deal.
people
I
know
was
that
in,
Joe Biden
I was
isn't
in,
that nice of a guy.
Turkey
Yeah.
at the time. He
She's
said,
gonna,
you got to
she's
come
gonna
home
be the
and take care of
bad
this.
cop.
So we put together a
Oh,
plan
did he
and
do
it
I'm the
had
Guy?
an impact.
Did he
And
do I'm the
so
Guy?
the question here
Did
is
what?
whether
I'm the guy who-
how we go ahead
Oh,
and
did
do
he?
this, what we do. There's no easy answer.
Did I miss it?
Follow,
I'm the
if I
guy.
may, do you want to see these unaccompanied minors staying in this country, or should they be deported eventually?
Well, the judgment has to be made whether or not, in this young man's case, he has a mom at home. There's an overwhelming reason why he'd be put in a plane and flown back to his mom.
Oh, that's so nice of him, Joe. That's called
Follow, sir.
deported,
You mentioned
right?
circumstances that must be horrific. The Customs and Border Protection
Yeah.
Facility in Donna, Texas, I was there, is at 1,556% capacity
Yep.
right now with mostly unaccompanied minors. There are kids that are sleeping on floors. They are packed into these pods. I've spoken to lawyers who say that some of these children have not seen the sun
God
in
save
days.
America.
What's your reaction? What is your reaction to these images that have come out from that
Do you hear that?
particular facility? Is what's happening inside acceptable to you? And when is this going to be fixed?
This
I-
is like the
that's a
first
serious
question
question,
would make a
right?
difficult question.
Is it acceptable to me? Come on.
Come on, come on.
That's why we're going to be moving
Ooh.
1,000 of those kids out quickly.
To where?
That's why I got Fort Bliss opened up. That's why I've been working from the moment this started to happen to try to find additional access for children to be able to safely, not just children, but particularly children, to be able to safely be housed while we follow through on the rest of what's happening. That is totally unacceptable.
Yeah, it's true. Deportation is just flying people
Ken.
home when it's a Democratic pres. It's true.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
I know.
I wanted to ask you about Afghanistan.
I mean, I would
You
complain
face a
about
May
this, but
1st
the
deadline
hypocrisy
for
of
the
the
withdrawal
different
of US
treatment is so
troops
glaring.
From that country. As a candidate in foreign affairs, you wrote that it is past time to end these forever wars. Can you commit to the
Whoa.
American people that by
Wow.
May 2nd, the U.S. will no longer have forces in Afghanistan?
The answer is that it's going to be hard to meet the May 1 deadline. Just in terms of tactical reasons, it's hard to get those troops out. So what we've been doing, what I've been doing, and what Secretary Blinken has been doing
I always think they're saying Abe Lincoln.
has been, we've been meeting with our allies, those other nations that have NATO allies who have troops in Afghanistan as well. And if we leave, we're going to do so in a safe and orderly way.
Well, it's only taken
We're
us
in
19
consultation, I
years.
say, with our
so-
Yeah.
allies and partners.
We don't want to do anything
and
rash.
How to proceed. And Secretary Blinken is meeting in Brussels this week with our NATO allies, particularly those who have forces there. And General Austin is just met with Kayani, and I'm waiting for the briefing on that. He is the
General Austin, he remembered his
leader,
name.
quote, in Afghanistan and Kabul. And
Admiral is great
there's
stuff.
a UN-led process that's beginning shortly on how to mechanically get people, how to end this war. But it is not my intention
true. It's
to
always
stay
safer to
there
keep troops in
for a long
combat.
time. But the question is, how and in what circumstances do we meet that agreement that was made by President Trump to leave under a deal that looks like it's not being able to be worked out to begin with? How's that done?
That's a previous
But we are
administration.
not
reference.
staying a long time.
Do you think it's possible that
We
could-
will leave. The question is when we leave.
Sorry, do you believe, though, it's possible we could have troops there next year?
I can't picture that being the case.
Really? Well, that's a specific answer.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, Kristen.
He's just pre-selecting them. He
Thank
doesn't
you
even know
very
where they
much,
are. He's
Mr.
not pretending
President.
to rate. Right at the beginning, he was
Given the
pretending
conditions
to
that
call
were
on them.
just laid out at the migrant facilities at the U.S. border, will you commit to allowing journalists to have access to the facilities that are overcrowded moving forward?
Do you notice they're talking much
I will
more
commit
slowly
when my
than
plan
they did
very shortly is
with
underway.
Trump
to
or
let them
President
have
anyone
access
Biden,
to not just
else?
I
them,
know
but
you
other
can't
facilities
see
as
my
well.
mouth, but if you could,
Be
the
able to have
question I would be
access to the
asking,
facilities. We've obviously been allowed to be inside one, but we haven't seen the facilities in which children are packed together to really give the American people a chance to see that. Will you commit to transparency on this issue?
I will
Mr.
commit to transparency, and as
Just
soon as
not on
I'm
this
in a
issue,
position to
and-
be able to implement what
Right.
we're doing
Once I'm able
right
to
now.
set things
And
up to
one
be
of the reasons I
transparent.
haven't gone
He has to
down,
become transparent slowly
my
and
chief folks have
safely.
gone down, is I don't want
My
to
chief
become
folks
the
have gone
issue.
down.
I don't want to be, bringing all the Secret Service and everybody with me to get in the way. So
What?
this is being set up, and you'll have full access to everything once we get this thing moving.
Okay, and just to be clear, how soon will that be, Mr. President?
I don't know, to be clear.
Responsibility
best
for
line
everything
so
that's
far.
happening at the border now. I hear you talking a lot about
That
the
was
past
almost nice.
administration.
I feel like he was.
I
just
like that.
He was like.
I
I
like
feel
that.
like he was almost
Some of
begging
those
her.
policies. Did
to
you
be
move
nice
too
to him.
quickly
To roll back what, I'm sorry?
question, what kind of drugs do you think they gave
Did
him?
you move too
I mean,
quickly to roll back some of the
Adderall,
executive
but-
orders of your predecessor?
First of all the policies that are underway were not helping at all. Did not slow up the amount of immigration, and there's many people coming. And rolling back the policies of separating children from their mothers, I make no apology for that.
But you
Rolling
didn't. You
back the
said you were going to
policies of,
fly them back.
Remain in
Oh, no,
Mexico,
sorry, that's
sitting on
different, right.
the edge of
Right.
the Rio Grande in a muddy circumstance with not enough to eat. I make no
With a
apologies
muddy
for that.
circumstance, did he
I
say?
make no apologies for ending programs
very
that did not
Very
exist
poetic.
before
Muddy
Trump
Circumstance.
became
They had a great album
president
in 2000.
that have an incredibly negative impact on the law, international law, as well as on human dignity. And so I make no apologies for that.
To ask you about foreign policy, Mr. President, overnight we learned that North Korea tested 2
They haven't asked him about
ballistic
Syria, of
missiles.
course, right?
What,
Why
if
would they?
any, actions will you take, and what is your red line on North Korea?
Let me say that, number one, UN Resolution 1718 was violated by those particular missiles that were tested, number one. We're consulting with our allies and partners, and there will be responses if they choose to escalate. We will respond accordingly. But I'm also prepared for some form of diplomacy, but it has to be conditioned upon the end result of denuclearization. So
This is a good motto for Biden. I don't know. To
that's
be
what we're
clear.
doing right now, consulting with our allies.
Just very quick
You only got
follow-up.
another hour now, okay?
Diplomacy, can you define what you mean? And former President Obama warned the incoming President Trump that North Korea was the top foreign policy issue that he was watching. Is that how you assess the crisis in North Korea?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
good answer.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
Okay, hang on a second
Hang
here.
on a second.
Kristen,
Let me pretend that
Nancy,
I'm calling on
CBS?
people spontaneously.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to go back to voting rights. And as Yamiche mentioned, Republican legislatures across the country are working to pass bills that would restrict voting, particularly Democrats fear impacting minority voters and young voters, the very people who helped to get you elected in November. Are you worried that if you don't manage to pass voting rights legislation, that your party is going to lose seats and possibly lose control of the House and the Senate in 2022?
What I'm worried about is how un-American this whole initiative is. It's sick. It's sick. Deciding in some states that you cannot bring water to people standing in line, waiting to vote. Deciding that you're going to end voting at 5 o'clock when working people are just getting off work.
Give them a bunch of muddy
Deciding that
circumstances.
there will be no
muddy
absentee
water.
ballots under the most rigid circumstances. It's all
Yeah, I mean,
designed, and I'm going to spend
I
my
think that
time
counts as
doing three things.
a softball
One,
question. That's
trying
like,
to figure
you know,
out how to pass
Can you-
the
can you
legislation
talk about
passed by the House.
how bad the Republicans
Number
are?
one.
Yeah.
Number two, educating
that's
the
a great-
American public. The Republican voters I know
Whoa.
find this despicable.
Whoa.
Republican voters,
Volume up, right?
the folks out in the
Folks,
outside this White House. I'm not talking about the elected officials. I'm talking about voters. And so I'm convinced that we'll be able to stop this because it is the most pernicious thing. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. I mean, this is
Oh
gigantic.
my God.
oh
what
my
they're trying to do.
goodness.
That is the
And it
best.
cannot
That's like
be
a joke
sustained.
I would
I
make.
do everything
Jim
in my
Crow look
power,
like
along
Jim
with
Eagle?
my friends in the House and the Senate, to keep that from becoming a law.
Is there anything else you can do about it besides passing legislation?
Also,
All right,
crows
I
are
got
kind
you.
of more
Yes, but I'm
violent.
not
Aren't
gonna
crows
lay
more
out a
violent
strategy
than eagles?
in front of the whole
No,
world
they're
and
both.
you now.
And then on a related note, have you decided
Well,
whether
no,
you
Jimmy,
are going to run
Eagles
for
are worse.
re-election in 2024? You haven't set up a re-election campaign yet, as your predecessor had by
Jim
this time.
Eagle.
My
That's going to be, I'm
predecessor
going to change my
needed
Twitter
to.
handle to Jim Eagle.
My
Yeah,
predecessor.
seriously.
I'm going to do that right
Oh,
now.
God, I miss him.
Yeah, do it.
Have you?
No, an answer is yes. My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
And then on one other note, on bipartisanship, your old friend Mitch McConnell says you have only spoken to each other once since you took office, and that you have moved far left since taking office. Do you see it the same way he does? Have you rejected bipartisanship?
No, I haven't at all.
I
I've been
wish-
meeting, when's the last time a president invited the opposite party down at least a half a dozen times to talk about issues, everything from how we work. We're working with a group of 20 members of the Senate right now and House on how we reestablish our
being far left?
ability to make computer
McConnell.
chips, and how we get ahead of the game, how we can work together. We're working together on a bunch
Eagle.
of things. But look,
I
I know Mitch
Sam
well.
Eagle?
Mitch knows me well. I would expect
he
Mitch to
should
say exactly
he
what he
should be
said.
committed to
But this is a
creating
matter of making sure that I would like Republican,
Jim Owl.
elected Republican support. But what I know I have now
The
is that I
infamous
have
Jim Owl.
electoral support
Well, no, that's
from
what he can
Republican
get because
voters.
owls are less threatening, right?
Republican voters.
Voters. Why does he do that?
Agree with what I'm
Voters. He
doing.
does. It's like an Irish
And
thing,
so,
I guess. Yeah.
unless Mitch
Voters.
says the last thing I did, this last piece of legislation is so far left, well, then he ought to take a look at his party. Over 50% of them must be over that edge as well, because they support what I did. Okay, where am I here? Let me see.
America.
Caitlin?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but first, I'd like to follow up on a question from Yamiche, and that's on the filibuster.
That counts as a question, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll make it quick. It's a
No,
quick
no, you
question. Regarding the filibuster, at John Lewis's funeral, President Barack Obama said he believed the filibuster was a relic of the Jim Crow era. Do you agree?
No,
Yes.
Jim Owl
And
era.
if not,
Wait a
why
minute.
not abolish it if
The
it's a relic of the
Democrats-
Jim Crow era?
Were the ones who
Oh, that was a gotcha. That was a gotcha.
Successful electoral politics is the art of the possible. Let's figure out how we can get this done,
He said yes, a
Move in
relic
the direction
of this Jim Crow era.
of significantly
but not gonna get
changing
rid
the
of it. That
abuse
was-
of even the filibuster rule first. It's been abused from the time it came into being
So you
by
want it to be
an extreme
unabused
way
and then use
in the
it?
last 20 years. Let's deal with the abuse first.
It sounds like you're moving closer to eliminating the filibuster. Is that correct?
I answered your question.
You also just made some news by saying that you are going to run for re-election.
I said that is my expectation.
Whoa.
So is that a yes, that you are running for re-election?
Look, I don't know where you guys come from, man. I've never been able to.
Oh, there we
I'm a
go.
great respecter of fate. I've never been able to plan 3.5 years ahead for certain.
And if you
It-
do run,
Really? Isn't
will
that
Vice
kind of one of
President
the
Harris
things-
be on your ticket?
Yeah.
I would fully expect that to be the case. She's doing a great job. She's a great partner.
What's
She's
her
a
name?
great partner.
And do you believe you'll be running against former President Trump?
Oh, come on. I don't even think about, I don't
I don't think
no
about the
idea.
future. Why would I?
I have no idea whether there'll be a Republican Party. Do you? I know you don't have to answer my question, but I mean,
He's
you know,
being
do you?
Socratic
I mean,
now.
look,
I like
this
him.
is the way I view things. I become a great
He's getting
respecter
a little,
of
he's
fate
getting,
in my
he's getting
life.
upset.
Yeah.
I set
He's
a goal,
sundowning.
and that's what's in front of me
He
to
is
get things
sundowning.
done for the people I care most about, which are hard-working, decent American people. Getting
I think,
really
I think that
having
counts
stuck
as,
to it. I want to change the
it
paradigm.
gets weirdly personal with a
I wanna
reporter
change the
who asks a
paradigm.
non-softball
We
question.
start to reward
Don't you
work,
think?
not just
Yeah.
wealth. I
That's
wanna
a
Also,
great-
change
he's changing the
If you
paradigm,
notice,
Matt.
Don't you find it kind of
doesn't that sound
interesting
like-
that
Did
my
he change the
Republican
paradigm?
friends were worried
Not
about
yet.
that the
But he's
cost
going to.
and
He
the
wants to.
taxes that had to be had, if there is any tax to be had, as they talk about it?
Oh, was there
in
an
dealing
affect
with
mismatch? I missed it.
the act that we just passed?
What
which
was
puts
it? What was
money
the
in
affect
people's
mismatch? I
pockets,
believe it.
ordinary people. Do you hear them complain when they passed close to $2 trillion Trump tax cut? 83% going to the top 1%?
He needs to just
Do you
re-own.
talk
He needs
about
to
that at all?
own the left,
I
far
love
left
the
thing as
fact that
making
they
this
found
something Americans
this
want.
whole idea of concern about the federal budget. It's kind of amazing. When the federal budget is saving people's lives, I don't think it's such a good idea.
He's mad at the federal budget.
When the federal budget is feathering the nest of the wealthiest
Oh,
Americans.
feathering the
Feathering the
90
nest.
of the Fortune
Jim Eagle's
500
nest.
companies making billions of dollars, not
Can
paying
we
a cent
also
in
put
taxes.
into all drinking games when he does the
Reducing
the funny
taxes
tea?
to the point that people who are
Reported the
making,
tea.
you know, if you're a
Reported.
husband and wife,
Oh, yeah,
school
yeah, yeah.
teacher, and a cop, you're paying at a higher rate than the average person making $1 billion a year is.
husband, wife, school teacher, and a cop? Sounds like
Something wrong.
the village people or something.
Their newfound
No, I guess the
concern.
husband and wife.
I'm concerned, look, I meant what I said when I ran, and a lot of you still think I'm wrong, and I respect that. So I'm running for three
Sounds like a
reasons.
rat.
To restore the soul, dignity, honor, honesty, transparency to the American political system. Two,
Biden
to
was like a
rebuild the
budget
backbone of
hawk
this
most of
country.
his career.
No,
the middle class. Hardworking people and people struggling to get in the middle class. They built America, and unions built them.
and we're going
The
to
third reason I said I
That's
was funny.
epic.
that,
That's right,
and
yeah.
then
Unite
the
the
affect
country.
thing also right there. It's like the third
And
reason.
generically speaking, all of you said, no, you can't do that. Well, I've not been able to unite the Congress,
Generically
but I've been uniting the
speaking?
country based on the polling data. We have to come together.
The third thing was
we have to.
hilarious. He got so,
So
nice.
from my perspective, you know, it's, to me, it's about just, you know, getting out there, putting one foot in front of the other, and just
Oh
trying to
yeah,
make things better
excellent.
for
The sports
people.
cliche, I love it.
Just hard
Well, to
working
be
people.
fair, for him, that's not
People
the
get up
easiest
every
thing,
morning
as we
and
saw
just
when
wanna
he tried
figure
to
out
climb the Air
how
Force
to
One.
put food on the table for their kids, to be able to have a little bit of breathing
You know,
room.
I'm just trying to help out the team
Being
any
able
way
to
I
have,
can.
make sure that they go to bed not staring to the ceiling like my dad did, wondering whether, since he didn't have health insurance, what happens if mom gets sick or he got sick? These are basic things. Basic things.
Basic things.
And I'm of the view that the vast majority of people, including registered Republicans by and large, share that same view, that same sense of what is, you know, what's appropriate. Justin Sink, Bloomberg.
Thanks, Mr. President. I wanted to ask about your relationship with China now that you've been in office for a couple months. There's obviously the meeting in Alaska that was a little theatrical, and there's the continued human rights abuses. So today, I'm wondering, are you more likely
That's a good one from
than
Josh
you were when you
Daniel.
came into office to maintain tariffs on China? Are you considering banning imports of forced labor products? And would you consider
That's a
cutting
good
off
question.
U.S. investment or Chinese access to international payment systems?
Well, look,
Drink.
Oh, yeah.
they're each specifically legitimate questions.
Thanks. It's very
But they
validated.
only touch a smidgen of what the relationship with China really is about.
Touching the smidgen.
I've known Xi Jinping for a long
like
Find the
time.
rationale, touch the smidgen.
Allegedly, by the time I left office as vice president, I had spent more time with Xi Jinping than any world leader had.
Allegedly?
Because President Obama and the Chinese President Hu decided
On
we should get
first.
to know one another.
Sorry.
Since it was inappropriate for the President of the United States to spend time with the Vice President of another country. But it was obvious he was going to become the new leader of China. So
Touch the
I
smidgen.
spent
We gotta
hours
make
upon
t-shirts
hours
for
with
that.
him
we really have,
alone
yeah.
with an interpreter.
Where is it?
My interpreter and
Allegedly.
his. Going into great detail. It's very, very
Allegedly.
straightforward. Doesn't have a Democratic with a small d bone in his body, but
Yeah.
he's a smart guy. He's one of the guys like Putin who thinks that autocracy is the wave of the future. Democracy can't function in an ever complex world. So when I was elected and he called to congratulate me, I think to the surprise of the China experts who were his people.
Jim
on the
Eagle,
call
now
as
number
well as
19
mine,
international Twitter trends.
we had a 2-hour conversation for 2 hours.
We talked entirely about sports.
And we made several things clear to one another. I made it clear to him again, what I've
Rock the
told him in
Casbah.
person
Touch
on
the
several
smidgen
occasions.
to the tune of Rock the Casbah
We're
would
not
be good.
looking for
What to that?
confrontation,
Touch the
although we know there will
smidgen
Oh,
be
yeah,
to
you're
the
right.
tune of Rock the
steep
Casbah.
competition.
Sorry, don't like it.
Two,
Touch
that
Touch the
smidgen.
we'll have
smidgen.
strong
Touch
competition, but we'll
Yeah,
insist that
so-
China play by the international rules.
That's a good question
Fair
from John Michael.
competition. Fair practices, fair trade.
This has gotten more
Thirdly,
interesting.
in order to compete
You gotta touch
effectively, I
Jim
indicated
Eagle and touch the smidgen.
that
Yeah.
we're going to deal
Do you
with
think they had it written
China
down?
effectively.
I don't think so. I think they're
And
letting
we're
them
going to
wing
need
it.
three things
Play.
to do that. I'm telling our people. First, we're going to invest in American workers and American science. I said that all through the campaign. I say it again, and I'm setting up my administration to be able to do that, which is that, you know, back in the 60s, we used to invest a little over 2% of our entire GDP in pure research and investment in science.
Feathering the nest. with
Today, it's
Jim
0.7%. I'm going to change that. We're going to change that. The future lies in who can, in fact, own the future as it relates to technology, quantum computing, a whole range of things, including in the medical fields. And so, what I'm going to do is make sure we invest closer to 2%. One of the reasons why I've set up the PAB, the President's Board with Scientists and the like, again,
Yeah.
is we're going to invest in medical
A
research.
lot of bird imagery.
Cancer,
Yeah,
Alzheimer's, diabetes, the things, industries of the future, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, biotech.
This is so gross, this
And we're going
comment,
to
but
make
it's
real
kind of funny.
investments.
David
China
Woods-
is out investing us
What?
by a long
David
shot
Wood's comment that I put up.
because their
is
plan is
kind
to
of-
own that future. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to
Vision.
reestablish our alliances, and I've been very clear with them. It's not
This is all just a way to
anti-Chinese.
say I'm not going
I think
to
we've
impose
talked about it.
And,
tariffs
yeah.
I want to
on.
make sure that, for example, later today, after this, as a matter of fact, shortly after this, which is fine, we've been going close to an hour, I'm happy, go
Bird and Feather
longer, but
Conference, I like that.
Does he have
one
one
of the
those
things
mitten
that
holders on
I'm
his
going to be
watch?
doing,
Does he
I'm
what?
going to be speaking
Is that a
with
mitten holder
27
thing on
heads
his
of state in
watch?
Europe,
I can't see it.
and very shortly, I think within the next hour or so, I don't know the exact time. And earlier this month, and apparently it got the Chinese attention, that's not why I did it, I met with our allies and how we're going to hold China accountable in the region. Australia, India, Japan, and the United States, the so-called Quad. Because we have to have democracies working together. Before too long, I'm going to invite an alliance of democracies to come here to discuss the future. And so we're going to make it clear that in order to deal with these things, we are going to hold China accountable to follow the rules. To follow the
Except-
rules.
Except in
Whether it
a
relates to
way, as you might
South
have
China Sea or the North China Sea,
Except
or
what?
the agreement made on
Except
Taiwan,
in the ways
or
that you
a whole range
suggested.
of other
Right.
things. And the third thing, and the thing that I admire about dealing with Xi is he understands, he makes no pretense about not understanding what I'm saying
See
anymore
Richard
than
Hines'
him.
comment?
I pointed out to him, no leader can be sustained in his position or her position
Nice.
unless they represent the values of the
can see that.
country. And I said, Mr. President, as I've told you before, Americans value the notion of freedom. America values human rights. We don't always live up to our expectations, but it's a value system. We are founded on that principle. And as long as you
No
and your
question
country
about the
continue to
$15.
so
You
blatantly
notice that?
violate human rights,
The minimum wage.
we are going to continue in an unrelenting way to call to the
Unrelenting,
attention of the
relenting.
world and make it clear what's happening. And he understood that. I made it clear that no American president, at least one did, but no American president ever backed down from speaking out of what's happening in the Uyghurs, what's happening in Hong Kong, what's happening in country. That's who we are. The moment a president walks away from that, as the last one did, is the moment we begin to lose our legitimacy around the world. It's who we are.
I believe so, yeah.
So I see stiff competition with China. China has an overall goal, and I don't criticize them for the goal, but they have an overall goal to become the leading country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, and the most powerful country in the world. That's not going to happen on my watch, because the United States is going to continue to
My
grow
mitten watch.
and expand.
Sorry, just to follow up on the meeting of democracies, is that where you expect in a multilateral way to make these decisions about sanctions or
No, that's not where I make the decision. That's where I make sure we're all on the same page. All on the same page. Look, I predict to you, your children or grandchildren are going to be doing their doctoral thesis on issue of who succeeded, autocracy or democracy, because that is what is at stake. Not just with China. Look around the world. We're in the midst of a fourth industrial revolution of enormous consequence. Will there be middle class? How will people adjust to these significant changes in science and technology?
One strength that Biden has as a politician is that he's just
And
tough
our democracy
to
is
focus
equipped
on. Like,
because all the people get to speak,
he
to
doesn't.
compete.
The way he talks, it's just
It is
very,
clear,
very difficult
absolutely
to stay
clear.
interested in what he's saying.
Most of the scholars I dealt with
Unless
at
it's
Penn
funny.
agree with me.
Oh, I
around the
dealt
country.
with that Penn. The scholars I
That
dealt
this
with
is a
that Penn
battle
where he
between
wasn't a professor. Remember, he lied about
the
that.
utility of democracies in the 21st century and autocracies.
Yeah, no gun question yet.
You notice,
Isn't that weird?
you don't have Russia talking about communism anymore. It's about an autocracy. Demand decisions made by a leader of a country. That's what's at stake here. We got to prove democracy works.
Mr. President, sorry, I know you haven't had a chance to address the tragedies in Georgia and Colorado. You had said to stay tuned for actions that you might take on gun control. Wondering if you've made a decision either about sending the manufacturer liability bill that you had promised on day one to Capitol Hill, or executive actions like going after ghost guns or giving money to cities and states to battle gun control.
All the above. It's a matter of timing.
It's a matter of timing at the end of
As
the
you've
day.
all observed, successful presidents, better than me, have been successful in large part because they know how to time what they're doing.
Yeah,
Order
right.
it. Decide in priorities what needs to be done. The next major initiative is, and I'll be announcing it Friday in Pittsburgh in detail, is to rebuild the infrastructure, both physical and technological infrastructure of this country, so that we can compete and create significant numbers of really good paying jobs. Really good paying jobs. And some of you have been around long enough to know that used to be a great Republican goal and initiative. I still think the majority of the American people
What Game of Thrones' characters
don't like the fact that we are now ranked,
I don't
what,
watch that
85th
show.
in the world in infrastructure? I mean, look, the future rests on whether or not we have the best airports that can accommodate air travel, ports that you can get in and out of quickly, so businesses decide. Some of you, if you're ever local reporters, and you found your governor or mayor trying to attract business to your community, what's the first thing the business asks? What's the closest access to an interstate highway? How far am I from?
I think we're on the side of democracy, mostly.
Is the water?
I mean, we have a
Is the water
split
available?
ticket
Is
on
enough
that.
water available for me to conduct my business? All the things that relate to infrastructure. We have somewhere, I asked the staff to write it down for me, and they did, not for this, but for a longer discussion.
Someone said that Char
We have
shows voodoo.
somewhere,
That
in
what?
terms of infrastructure,
I don't know.
we rank 13th globally in infrastructure. China is investing 3 times more in infrastructure
Oh,
than the
has there
United
been an
States
MBS
is.
question? No.
Bridges, more than
course not.
1/3 of our bridges, 231,000 of them,
30.
need repairs.
30.
Some are physical safety risks or preservation work. 1 in 5 miles of our highways and
my
major roads
God.
are in poor condition.
All
That's
right.
186,000 miles of highway. Aviation, 20% of all flights, 20% of all flights weren't on time, resulting in 1.5 million hours lost in production. 6 to 10 million homes in America still have lead pipes servicing their water lines.
Oh, really? What do you guys do in
We
Flint
have
again?
over
I forget.
100,000
Obama went down there
wellheads
to
that are
show
not
he could drink the
capped.
water. Remember that?
Leaky methane.
That was terrible.
What do we
Oh,
do?
what did I have to drink about?
And by the way, we can put
Oh,
as
look,
many pipe fitters and miners on us to work capping those wells at the same price that they would charge to dig those wells. So I just find it
Eagle crotch.
frustrating. Frustrating. Talk about, last point I'll make in the infrastructure, and I apologize for
What?
spending more time on it, but is that if you think about it,
Time is a square circle.
it's the place where we
It's
will
called
be able to
sundowning, right?
significantly increase American productivity, at the same time providing really good jobs for people. But we can't build back to what they used to be. We have to build, the environment's already, global warming's already done significant damage. The roads that used to be above the water level didn't have to worry about where the drainage ditch was. Now you got to rebuild them 3 feet higher,
Sounds like
because
he's
it's not going to go back to what
talking
it was
about
before.
his
Only
own
get
sink.
worse
What is he
unless we stop
talking
it.
about?
This is like Trump with
There's
the water,
so
remember?
much we can do.
Right.
Look at all the schools in America. Most of you live in the Washington area now, but in your hometowns, I don't know where you're all from.
Why don't you tell me? Why don't you
How
share
many
that?
schools where the kids can't drink the water out of the fountain?
What about Flint? I don't understand.
How many schools are
How
still
are
in
they
a
not asking
position
him about
where
that?
there's asbestos?
He's just not
How
answering
many schools in
questions.
America
That he's
were
just
sending
saying.
I know, it's
teachers
like Sarah Palin, remember when
don't
she
have
did
adequate
that?
ventilation? How many homes,
He is
buildings,
filibustering.
office complexes are wasting billions of barrels of oil over time because they can't hold in the heat or the air conditioning,
What?
because it's leaks through the windows
What
that are
are they
so
doing?
porous.
I don't
The
know.
connections.
Something.
It's amazing. So there's so much we can do that's good stuff.
I didn't hear that.
Someone's got to
people
hand him like a
healthier,
mirror with a line, a
creates
big fat
good
line or
jobs.
something.
Hunter.
And I think that, I got one more question here.
Just one, just a minute.
From Univision.
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
President. We too have been reporting at the border, and just like Cecilia, we ran into a pair of siblings who came in on Monday, were detained by CBP, had the phone number for their mother who lives in the U.S. We have contacted the mother. That's the only way they know her kids are here, because CBP today, Thursday, has not contacted that mother. So when can we expect your promise of things getting better with contacting and expediting?
Well, they're
the
already
process?
getting better, but they're going to get they're going to a whole hell of a lot better real quick, or we're going to hear some people leaving. Okay? We can get this done. We're going to get it done. I had a long meeting with the entire team and several cabinet level officers.
Nothing we
Tonight,
can't accomplish.
we're
Does
gonna
that
be
count as
moving
that?
within the
I don't
next,
think so.
Within the next week, over 100,000, 1,000 people out of the Border
More
Patrol
importantly, what do
into
you think
safe,
about the trade
secure
deadline?
beds and facilities. We're going to significantly ramp up. We're already out there contacting everyone from getting some of the employees at HHS. There's a lot of them doing other things and move them into making those calls. We're in the process of rearranging and providing for the personnel needed to get that done. But I admire the fact that you were down there, you're making the calls yourself. It's real. The next thing that has to happen, though, as you well know, has to happen, there have to be some certitude that this is actually mom, dad, or whomever.
Build
And
that
there's ways
better,
to do
bitches.
that. There's ways to do that, a little bit like determining whether or
what
not
about this?
you got the right code for your credit card.
What?
You know, what was your dog's name, kind of thing. I'm being a
What?
bit facetious, but not really.
Oh my
And
God.
also seeking
Wait, what?
harder data
He's-
from DNA to birth certificates, which
He's
takes
comparing
longer. So I want to do
reuniting
this
families to
as
creded cards and
quickly
pets.
as humanly possible and as safely as possible.
Well, no, treating the root causes in Latin America doesn't change things overnight. How do you realistically and physically keep these families from coming to the U.S. when things will not
What's he
get
doing?
better in their countries
Calm
right
down.
away?
Stand down, Joe.
Well, I can't guarantee that, but I know, that old thing, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. You know as
That's-
well as I do.
Well,
You
I
cover
mean,
it.
that's what they're doing.
You have serious,
They're
it's not like
coming over
somebody's
the
sitting
journey
on
that they're
a
taking to get here.
hand-hewn table in Guatemala, in somewhere in Mexico or in Guadalupe saying, I got a great idea. Let's sell everything we have. Give it to a coyote. Have them take our kids across the border into a desert where they don't speak the language. Won't that be fun? Let's go. That's not how it happens.
Oh.
People don't want to leave. When my great-grandfather got in a coffin ship in the Irish Sea, expectation was,
That's true.
was he going to live long enough
I'm sure it's
on that
not.
ship to get to the United States of America? But they left because of what the Brits had been doing. They were in real trouble.
Again, but I
They
got
didn't
my,
want to leave.
share my Irish heritage.
no
with
Yeah.
the president
choice.
here, yeah.
So I can't guarantee we're going to solve everything, but I can guarantee we can make everything better.
Coffin ship.
We can
I
make
know.
it better.
You think maybe he just read Moby
We can
Dick?
change the
maybe?
lives
Yeah,
of so
I
many
don't-
people.
yeah,
And the other thing
I
I want
wanna
to point
look
out
into
to
that.
you, and I hope you point out, I realize it's much more heart-wrenching, and it is, to deal with a 5 and 6 and 7-year-old.
But once they're
But you went down there and
17,
you saw the vast majority of these children, 70% are 16 years old, 17 years old, and mostly males.
These are sexually mature.
Doesn't make it good, bad, or indifferent, but the idea
mostly
that we
males?
have tens of thousands of
it
kids
doesn't make it good, better, different.
in
You're
these
clearly
god-awful
saying it makes it better.
facilities.
Come on.
that are really little babies crying all night. There's some, that's true. That's why we got to act. And yesterday, I asked my team, both the director of the two agencies as well as others, I asked them what would they in fact, and I asked their opinion because they're the experts, but I said, focus on the most vulnerable immediately. But there's no reason why in the next month as people cross the border, that phone call can't be made in the first 48 hours and begin.
If I may ask one last question, have you had any talks with Senate Republicans who are threatening this administration with not considering the immigration legislation that was passed in the House until the situation at the border has been resolved?
No, because I know they have to posture for a while.
Okay, notebook closed. He's
It's
totally
going
on
to got to
the
get
earpiece
out
now.
of their system. This is a, but I'm ready to work with any Republican who wants to help solve the problem or make the situation better. But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
All
Thank you.
right.
Wow.
Woo. Man. What's my beautiful wife want to suck her finger? That was exhausting.
It was. And it was like
That's the end of President Biden's first
Irish
formal
Sea is
news
between Ireland and
conference
Great
since his
Britain. He
inauguration.
meant the
Started at
Atlantic.
1:27
I'm
this
sure it
afternoon,
wasn't a
concluded
coffin.
at 2:29 this afternoon. 10 reporters asking questions of the president on a wide variety of topics. And we'll play you some of those top topipics that emerged. But
Okay,
now we
let's
want to
not-
hear from
no
you about the
replays,
president's
please.
conference and some of those themes
Let's
that
call
came
in.
from it. And here's how you can call us and let us
No,
know.
no, no, no,
202-748-8920
All right.
for
Anyway.
Republicans, 202-748-8921
So, yeah, thoughts?
for Democrats and others.
Yeah, can you turn him down?
Yeah. Should I just close this window?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'd give him a B plus.
Yeah. A
I mean,
Biden B plus,
there
yeah.
was- There was some pretty weird. There was some weird shit in there, like the Jim Eagle thing and the touch the smidgen.
Touching the smidgen.
Touching the
smidgen, yeah.
smidgen. But overall, I mean,
Oh,
he
what's
didn't.
Trump commentary? That's true. Should we see what he said on Twitter?
He's not on Twitter.
Oh, right. Where is he going to comment?
I don't know.
We should text him a question. Let's see. On a wide variety of topics.
Why don't we have Trump on the show?
I mean, we should.
People who are giving me a hard time about the B plus. I'm grading on a scale here.
Right.
You know, like he could have walked out and pulled his pants down. Like, you know, that's like in the realm of possibility.
Right.
With this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
There was one good question, which is when they asked him if the filibuster was a relic of the Jim Crow era, and he's like, "Yes." And will you be getting rid of it?
No.
No. That was good.
Well,
Yeah,
it was the relic of the Jim Eagle era.
it's true. Right. Yeah, it was Jim Eagle. Yeah. Larva.
All right.
All these hard-hitting questions about the lies he told about the 515. I know. I can't believe they didn't ask him one of those. One question about the $15. Wow. Look, Trump is funny. He is funny. Sorry.
I've never had a problem of trying to stay awake during a Trump presser.
Yeah.
I mean, he says embarrassing things, but
they're hilarious.
yeah. All right. So that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit most of the. He didn't say equity.
He didn't say equity.
He didn't say I'm. He didn't. Say, I don't think he did. Here's the deal. Did he?
I think he did. Did he or not?
Did he do the here's the deal? He didn't do God Bless America.
Yeah, or the troops. Yeah, I think because he left too early. He was trying to cut it short.
Right. And he didn't get to the. Well, he probably did get to the five blamings of the Republicans.
Right.
But the rest of the rules he pretty much hit. So that was a triple that I just drank. So I'm a little.
Wow.
I'm gonna go. Sleep and hydrate. I think.
Yeah, do it.
But that was. I don't know. For his first press conference, what do you think?
I mean, it was okay. It was totally controlled, right? I mean, it was totally like pre-planned, and there was a lot of reading of text, and there was also, they were all pre-selected. He knew. I mean, was he pretending at first that he was calling on them like organically?
No,
they never
gave
did.
him a list. I mean,
Okay.
I love the technique where they just gave him factoids to read, like. Did you know that Mount Everest is 29,000 feet, 280 feet high? Did you know that we have 230 bridges that still need repair? And that, I mean, it's just a good way to fill space for a guy who's
Right,
trouble answering questions,
Yeah.
But,
he's yelling at a cloud right now. Yeah. Yeah, he was. He had a cheat book of talking points by issue. What else?
He's going to go back there. They're going to give him a guinea pig to kick.
I know. It's terrible. He also really did, by the way, he really did do a weird comparison between reuniting kids and their parents and figuring out a credit card code.
And asking the name of your dog or something like that.
Yeah. And also his thing about how they're not crying babies. They're a bunch of, post-pubescent males.
Right. Yeah. I slept with some of these children.
Yeah.
These aren't kids.
Yeah. It's not good, bad, or worse. What do you say? It's not good. Obviously,
I
you're
don't
saying
know.
it's better. That's why you're telling us. If they're
Yeah.
crying babies, that's bad. If they're, if their testes have descended, not so bad.
It always
Yeah.
comes back to testes on this
Yeah, I
show.
do. It does. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone subscribe to the Useful Idiots Substack.
Yeah.
But of course, don't leave the Katie Halper show.
Yeah, don't do that
No,
either.
don't do that. Yeah. Just if you, but definitely do that. Subscribe. I linked in the description here, and I have my show tonight, and I'll just have to leave you on the edge of your seat.
On the edge of your tongue seat?
What's that?
The tips of your.
Oh,
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. Tips of your seat. Edge of your seat.
Edge of your seat, yeah.
Well, tune into Katie's show tonight.
Yeah, and then we're dropping hours. Everyone, make sure that if you already subscribe to Useful Idiots RSS, you just need to resubscribe to it. And if you haven't, just subscribe. Look for it on wherever you find your podcasts. And also, of course, you can come over to Substack where you can watch our videos and hear our podcasts. And we already have 2 episodes, and we're going to be releasing more. And lots of things are changing. It'll be good.
It will be good. It will be good.
All right.
All right. Signing off. Hydrating. Take care now.
Take
All
care.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye. I'll see if there are any more super chats. Okay. Thank you, Bongo Shaftberry. Anything else? Yeah, this was kind of insane. Anyway, well, this was good. This was good. When is the, by the way, the Kamala Bill Clinton summit? I want to cover that. What made you guffaw? Oh, you can't remember it? You got to write this down. You got to write down the Katie guffaw lines, okay? Thank you for subscribing. And yeah, all right, Bill back best, getting a nap in. Yeah, I think that's kind of true. Trump and Biden are both senile, but at least Trump had lunacy to couple with it. It's true, yeah. I'll have another guest on tonight because I have some work to do, guys. But yeah, anything else that you want? When is the Bill Clinton Summit for Women? Here, I got it. You wanted me to show you this? I got a leaked photo of it. Hold on. Make a Jim Eagle meme? Yeah, what should it look like? Wait, let me show you what I made, though. Hold on, let's see. KT helps, photo. All right, let me just share this. Oh my God, this whole time no one told me I had my mom's name on. It says Nora Eisenberg. What the hell? No one told me? Hello? I know the Clinton Harris thing is Friday, but anyone know what time? My camera's not shaky, my laptop is, because I'm setting up a new mic situation today. It'll be very good because I have my mic in front of me and it absolutely kills me. Wait, hold on. What was it? No one told me that my mom's name was on. That's because she was on, you did? Oh, I didn't see it. People who know me should, all right, whatever. That's my mom. She was on Ben Burgess's show last night, and she was on my show, of course. Jesus Christ. Did people just think that was a random character? I don't know. I wonder how many of you know that that's my mom's name. Let's see. Hold on. I've become my mother. Hold on. Well, obviously you know I'm not Nora, but hold on 1 second. All right. Share screen. Here. So here's they really are doing, you know this, right? You told me, but there were too many comments and I didn't see it. I mean, that's good. There's so many comments. By the way, they are doing, Bill Clinton and Kamala Harris are doing an event on empowering women and girls. So here, I made this. Oh my God, good. My DMs aren't opening. Here's a preview of Bill Clinton and Kamala Harris's talk on empowering women and girls in the U.S. and around the world. Here we go. Here it is. Here's the announcement. Kamala Harris will go one-on-one with Bill Clinton on Friday to talk about the impact of COVID-19 on women and empowering women and girls in the U.S. and around the world as part of a Clinton global initiative. That, of course, is a photo of Bill Clinton getting a massage from an Epstein accuser. So there's that. And there's more, I think. Did I add more photos? There are more photos. I think I did an Instagram thing about it. But anyway, anywho. All right, so yeah, I will see you guys later. Doing a show tonight. And I think that's it. Subscribe to the Substack. Subscribe to the Katie Halper Show Patreon, which is patreon.com/the Katie Halper Show. And what else? I know, I thought it was an onion thing, right? Maybe I'll try to put a show together tonight that talks about that. Oh, it's 3:25 tomorrow. The thing is at 3:25 tomorrow. Crap, I think I have something at 3. Do I have something at 3 or 4? Hold on. Let me check. Let me just check my calendar. Damn, I have it at 3 to 4. I'll have to watch it later. Yeah, I guess Ghislaine Maxwell was busy indeed. All right, bye guys. Thanks for this. See you soon. Yeah, subscribe to Useful Idiots on YouTube. Subscribe to this, too. Have you subscribed to both? Definitely subscribe to both. All right. Bye. What else? What else? I know I do that.